I had no idea how the night would spiral when we headed to the club to celebrate Shania's birthday. At first, everything felt normal, lively music, drinks flowing, and laughter filling the room. When the DJ invited her onto the stage, I thought it was nothing more than a playful moment, a harmless highlight for her special day. But things shifted in a way I never could have predicted. She began dancing, moving with a confidence that made it clear she was skilled. Yet, her movements quickly crossed into something more, too sensual, too suggestive for a public scene. Then she turned and pressed herself against the DJ, Devin, as the crowd erupted with cheers. I stood frozen, watching in disbelief as their interaction grew more intimate. Inside me, something cracked. The whole display was humiliating, but I bit back my emotions and stayed silent, unwilling to create a scene. When I finally stood up to leave, she noticed me. For the briefest moment, her expression faltered, but instead of stopping, she grabbed the microphone and laughed. "Don't be jealous, babe. It's just a dance." The crowd roared with laughter, and in that instant, any shred of dignity I had was stripped away. I didn't say a word. I simply walked out, my chest heavy, the echo of that laughter burning in my ears. Outside, I struggled to steady my breathing. My phone buzzed nonstop, but I silenced it. I wasn't ready to face her or anyone else. When I got home, I poured myself a drink, sat down, and finally looked at my phone. Her messages were filled with irritation and defensiveness, accusing me of being insecure, asking why I had left. But not once did she apologize or acknowledge the scene she'd caused. I typed one simple reply: "We're done." Then I powered my phone off. The next morning, I woke up to dozens of missed calls, texts, and voicemails. Some friends reached out with concern. Others seemed to side with her. I ignored them all. Instead, I gathered every trace of her from my apartment, her clothes, gifts, reminders of her, and packed them into boxes. By evening, the apartment felt emptier, but strangely, I felt lighter. The following week, I buried myself in work. I asked my boss for extra projects, stayed late at the office, and kept myself occupied with anything that could distract me. Shania's texts grew more frantic over time, a mix of apologies and blame, but I never replied. Then, a few days later, my friend Marcus sent me something that made my stomach drop. It was a video from that same night, captured after I had left. It showed Shania and Devin walking out of the club together. The timestamp read 2:37 a.m. The confirmation hit me like ice water. This had never been just a dance. It was betrayal, plain and simple. Disrespect layered with deceit. I blocked her on everything and changed the locks on my apartment. 2 weeks later, I felt myself slowly healing. I started reconnecting with friends, focusing on my own life again. Over dinner one night, Marcus cautiously brought her up. "She's been asking about you," he said, watching me carefully. "She's been trying to explain?" "I don't need an explanation," I told him flatly. That video said everything. Marcus hesitated before pulling out his phone. He showed me a message from Kayla, one of Shania's closest friends who had also been at the club. The message read, "I can't keep hiding this. Shania has been seeing Devin since New Year's Eve. She made me promise not to tell anyone." My chest tightened. It wasn't just one reckless night. She had been hiding an affair the entire time. Kayla had even provided screenshots Shania had shared with her, conversations where she bragged about her secret relationship with Devin. In them, Shania mocked our relationship, saying I was predictable while Devin was thrilling. The timestamps revealed that many of their meetings coincided with nights she told me she was working late or out with friends. Kayla admitted she felt guilty for staying silent so long and had tried to convince Shania to end things with Devin. But Shania had ignored her. I thanked Marcus, paid for dinner, and drove home in silence. The next evening, as I came back from work, she was waiting outside my apartment door. Her eyes were swollen, makeup streaked from crying. Gone was the confident woman who had flaunted herself on stage. "Jamal, please," she whispered, voice trembling. "I've been trying to reach you for 2 weeks. We need to talk." I stood there with my keys in hand, exhaustion weighing on me. There's nothing to talk about, I said. There is, she pleaded. What you saw, it wasn't what it looked like. A bitter laugh almost escaped me. Which part? The part where you grinded on another man in front of a cheering crowd, or the part where you left with him after I walked out? Her face fell. You know about that? I know everything, Shania. About that night. About the 6 months before it. About all of it. She broke down, real tears streaming down her face. I made a mistake, a horrible mistake. But what we have, it's worth saving. 3 years, Jamal. Don't throw it all away. I unlocked my door and turned back to her one final time. You're the one who threw it away. Not just with Devin, not just with the lies, but when you grabbed that mic and laughed at me in front of everyone. That was the moment I realized my feelings never mattered to you. And with that, I walked inside, leaving her standing in the hallway. Needed to know. Goodbye, Shania. I stepped inside and shut the door. Even through the wood, her voice carried, first pleading, then rising with anger. You'll regret this. You'll never find someone who loves you the way I do. Maybe she was right about that last part. I prayed no one else would ever love me the way she had. In the following days, her attempts to reach me became relentless. She sent flowers to my office, left voicemails that swung between sobbing apologies and furious accusations, and even dragged her mother into it, an act that felt like a new low. I stayed firm. I never responded. Then came an unexpected turn. The video from her birthday night began circulating on local social media. It wasn't viral, but it spread enough that people in our circle saw it. Someone eventually showed it to Turan, the owner of Boutique Bliss, where Shania worked. Boutique Bliss was an upscale fashion store catering to celebrities and high-profile clients. Turan, a former model herself, fiercely guarded the store's image. I didn't hear the details directly. It was Marcus again. His girlfriend worked at a shop nearby and told him tension was rising between Turan and Shania after the video surfaced. The timing couldn't have been worse. The boutique was preparing for its annual summer launch event, a prestigious affair packed with influencers and VIP clients. Turan worried Shania's reckless behavior would taint the event. I kept my distance. This wasn't my doing, it was simply the consequences of her choices. The night of the launch came and went. I wasn't there, of course. But the next morning, social media was buzzing with another scandal. Devin, the same DJ, had shown up as a guest of one of the influencers. When Shania spotted him, she lost all composure. In front of everyone, she confronted him, shouting about why he'd been ignoring her calls. Devin tried brushing it off, visibly uncomfortable, but Shania refused to back down. The argument escalated until security escorted her to the back. To make matters worse, Devin had brought a date, a well-known fashion blogger and a valuable contact for the boutique. Embarrassed by the scene, the blogger left early and later posted thinly veiled negative comments about the unprofessional atmosphere at Boutique Bliss. I hadn't lifted a finger, yet everything unraveled for her. A week later, the boutique staff page quietly removed Shania's profile. Their official Instagram announced an opening for a new manager. Soon after, Shania posted on her own accounts that she was taking a break from social media to focus on new opportunities. 3 months later, I noticed her LinkedIn profile had been updated. She'd moved to Atlanta and taken a job at a retail chain. She left town without another word to me. As for me, life moved forward. I kept designing buildings, spent weekends with family, and slowly began to heal. I started talking to Zara, a barista at the cafe near my office. We're taking things slow, cautious with trust. I still have the gold necklace with the birthstone. I can't bring myself to sell it or throw it away. Maybe it serves as a reminder. Beauty can conceal ugly truths, just as a relationship can disguise betrayal. Sometimes the only strength you have left is walking away. And sometimes that's enough. 8 months later, people began asking me for an update. So here it is, Shania is still in Atlanta. From what I hear, she tells people she left because of a toxic work environment. Rewriting history has always been her specialty. The boutique survived the scandal. Turan never reached out to me, and that's fine. Zara and I are officially together now. She knew about everything from the beginning. It was impossible not to, given how public it became. But she never judged me for it. For those wondering if I regret how I handled things, no, I don't. I walked away with dignity intact. I didn't fabricate evidence, didn't plot revenge, didn't even speak out publicly except through legal means when she tried lying about me. Her downfall wasn't my doing. It was simply the inevitable outcome of treating people as if they were disposable,